Was it short and sweet? See, just long enough. Now we're gonna head back to the city center so we can start the walking part. Now I just got a call from the ship. I think on the first Caves and City bus, that the one that left before me, was the same case. They are sending us a message to give to you, the guests of the Norwegian, that those who don't want to do the walking part, you are free to stay on the bus and the bus will return you to the ship. But that does not include a refund. I'm just the messenger, don't shoot me. Okay. For those who do want to join me, we're gonna do it chill today because I feel the humidity also. And I'm gonna, well, as long as the sun behaves itself like that, it won't be too horrible. So fingers crossed, while we're walking, there's no sun. And when we return to the ship, the sun can do whatever it wants. All right. I'm gonna finish the story, and then we're gonna get on to the good stuff. Because in the city, I won't be able to talk about the good stuff. You know, healthcare, education, the things you really want to know. Okay, let's see. Interesting dates. I always focus on what's interesting. After the Dutch arrived, the Dutch were very, very skilled businessmen. Trading is their thing. They thrived on it. You know the biggest port, or one of the most important ports in the world, which one it is?
Amsterdam.
Rotterdam. Correct. Rotterdam is super important to the Dutch economy. That's always been their core business, trading. So when they got here and they found the natural harbor of Curaçao, few actually, the Santa Ana became one of their main ports outside of Rotterdam. They went into business with their former enemies, the Portuguese and the Spanish, and they went into the ultimate trading products. Stolen people off the west coast of Africa. Between 1648 and 1863, the Dutch have illegally transported over 600,000 stolen people. They did so from the west coast down to Cabo Verde, West Africa, Porto Praia, down to Suriname, Curaçao, and then on their way to wherever this had to go. We were not the final destination. We were just one of the largest transitioning posts for the Dutch West Indies Company. After 1863, slavery was abolished on paper. I like to say that. You see, these people were free, but they had to pay back for their freedom by working for free for 10 more years. Because, you know, you gotta be thankful. Irony, it gives meaning to the word. After that, life became very difficult in Curaçao, and we fast forward and we reach 1915, when oil was discovered in Maracaibo, Venezuela. Today, the largest oil reserve in the world is still in Venezuela. Venezuela has always been what Venezuela is today, highly unstable, unpredictable. The Dutch wanted to build a refinery that was close to Venezuela, but not in Venezuela for this particular reason. So the Royal Dutch Shell, you know, the corporation, decided to build the largest refinery in the Western Hemisphere back then in Curaçao, right in the middle of the Schottegat. Curaçao St. Anne Harbor, the heart of it, we call it Schottegat. It's 4 square kilometers, if I'm not mistaken, of room. And right now full of businesses, and still the refinery right in the center of it. If you sail out of the St. Anne, you would reach Venezuela within about 6 hours, depending on the vessel you're on. Could be a little faster. 60 kilometers away, 38 miles. So we were almost in Venezuela, just not in it, and on Dutch territory. What they did was bring in the oil from Venezuela. We refine it into 5 different products and other vessels come in, pick up the final products and take them wherever they had to. We also bought for our own consumption here in Curaçao. For the past 5 years, we have not had this industry going. We have lost a lot of skilled employees because, of course, when a refinery closes, you're out of a job. That's very particular. There are no two refineries here. So people leave the island looking for work elsewhere. Most of them went to Holland to work for refineries over there, went to Canada and even Arabia. So we have lost people in the past few years. We had a population of almost 160,000 and now we're down to 148. So it has affected us. But that's always been a thing in Curaçao. The population increases, then declines a little bit and increases again. Depends on how the world economy works. We work too. Now, in order to build that refinery in 1916, they required more employees. So the island went from about 20 registered thousand to about 40,000 in the first 20 years of constructing the refinery. Then World War II hit, 1940. Curaçao's refinery, together with Aruba's refinery, had to mass produce fuel to fuel that war. 70% of the fuel that was used during World War II was produced by Curaçao and Aruba. Now, a lot of people don't know this. That is why we were heavily protected by the Allies. We had 1,200 soldiers on the island back then, US, and then combined with Canadian soldiers protecting our harbors, preventing the refinery from being blown up. We were attacked 3 times. On one occasion, a few torpedoes sadly hit the USS Erie, causing the ship to sink like a kilometer, give or take, behind where your ship is docked. 6 men lost their lives and 9 were severely injured. Other than that, the refinery successfully is still there. So they did their jobs very well. Fast forward, 1954 was an interesting year. That's when Curaçao, Aruba, Bonaire, Saint Martin, Saba, and Saint Eustatius received their constitution. We did not become independent. We formed the alliance of the Netherlands Antilles, 6 islands together as sisters within the Dutch kingdom. So you had Holland and the Antilles. In 1986, Aruba decided to part ways, becoming autonomous. So you had Aruba, the Dutch kingdom, and the Antilles. 3. In 2010, October 10th, officially Curaçao parted ways from the Antilles. It just became a little too much for Curaçao, being big sister, carrying all the other islands. That's meaning also the debt that everyone was creating was also on Curaçao to carry. And we decided we've had enough and we parted ways in order to dissolve that debt. Curaçao is now officially autonomous like Aruba, and by leaving we sort of unwillingly forced the other islands to choose their own destiny. So Saint Martin also chose for autonomy. Bonaire, Saint Eustatius and Saba, the BES islands, we call them BES-eilanden, they chose to become municipalities of Holland. We had choices: independence, stay as Antilles, or become autonomous or municipality. About 60% of Curaçao chose for autonomy, thank God. Because independence to me is not realistic when you're so tiny and so, hot and attractive. As soon as you're alone, people might want to invade you, It's how the world works. So we became autonomous, meaning we are young adults living in mommy's backyard in a tiny apartment. theoretically. As in, we govern ourselves on a national level. Everything that has to do with international affairs, we have to consult with mommy first. If we need money because we, well, wasted hours, we ask mommy for money. And mommy has to give it. So, depends on how you look at it, they are still paying for reparations. Mommy could, but she hasn't in the past 300 years, so there's gotta be something that makes us attractive to keep. In that sense, after noticing how we behave, because we were never taught how to be independent. We were never taught how to think for ourselves. Our educational system is Dutch. When you don't know where you came from, you can't value yourself. If you don't know how to value and protect yourself, you will always be dependent on the one who owns you. That's why the US is here. We have a United States military base, the forward operating base. Very big, scary guys. Kind of cute when they cry on an Avengers movie. I've seen it. It's concerning to see grown men cry over a movie. That's fiction. But they are here in case ish happens. That's been a treaty we've had with the US since World War II, and we kept it because Holland is very far. Even though we do have the military bases here, if it were to be a big attack, we would be susceptible to it, very weak. But because they're here, we are well protected. So we're very, very calm island, the ABC Islands. Nobody really messes with us. Nobody really wants to go to war with Holland. Well, the Dutch are fairly peaceful people. You could say that. And the Dutch passport is also very strong. I don't mind being Dutch. Do I like how we became Dutch? No. Do I have a choice in it? Also no. But if I had to choose between being Dutch or being Venezuelan, I'm gonna be Dutch. It's nice. Today is a very cloudy day, still. I cannot see Venezuelans. Maybe tomorrow. Or if it rains again, it usually clears up and then becomes visible. Yes? Behind your ship is Venezuela. Yeah, straight through the horizon, where the clouds touch the ocean, that's Venezuela in the back. Depending on the vessel you're in, it can take around 4 to 6 hours. 4 to 6. Depending on the size of the ship. 60 kilometers or 38 miles. Aruba's further away than Venezuela is. Aruba's about 40 miles away from Curaçao. Yes. Sorry? Aruba is 40 miles away from Curaçao. Bonaire is 25. So yes. Sorry? 38 miles. Yes. Alright. Crossing the Queen Juliana Bridge on the way to Punta, the highest bridge in the Caribbean. If you're afraid of heights, don't look down. Look at me. And if you love it, very gorgeous ships in today, very colorful. Do you see on the horizon, you see a very big tanker? I see like a long line. You see it? That ship is just left Venezuela. We can see people crossing on the Queen Emma Bridge. That's gonna be our way back to the ships. You see the distance is not that far when you see it from over here. We're gonna end the tour by the big yellow house with green and white windows, and then we just cross the bridge and walk back to the ship. Yeah. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, real quick. Educational system, Dutch. We learn 4 languages here. 3 are mandatory on this island, and Aruba and Bonaire. English is mandatory, Dutch is mandatory, and Papiamento is mandatory. You have to learn all 3 if you want to survive here. Business language here is English and Dutch. Papiamento is the widely spoken, everybody speaks Papiamento. And Spanish is the unofficial official. Depending on which industry you're in, Spanish is very important for survival. We speak all 4. And I can switch sin pensarlo mucho in minder dan 10 minuten. En daarbij was je fácil mis. I even dream in all 4. It sucks though. I had to learn Dutch in school, but it's not the most exciting language there is. It's very calm and cold and calculated. Spanish is very passionate. Papiamento is a mix of all of them. If you speak Portuguese, you will understand 30% of Papiamento. Same thing for Spanish. A lot of Spanish, English, Dutch, French, German, Italian. Within Papiamento, which basis is 40% African languages and about 60% Creole Portuguese. We are multilingual. I have colleagues that also speak Portuguese. I had to learn because my ex-boyfriend was Portuguese, but from Portugal, not Brazil. And his mother was talking about me once in Portuguese and I couldn't understand. So I made it a mission to learn, you know, because you want to know what your mother-in-law is saying, because not with me. And I do have colleagues that also speak German fluently because they might have a parent that's German or they lived in Germany for a while, then moved to Curaçao. Multilingual. Patois also widely spoken here by the Caribbean population. Patois could be either English or French, by the way. Okay. Healthcare is accessible to everyone. If you are registered on this island, you have the right to basic healthcare. It means the government will keep you alive. If you want to enlarge something that's not life-threatening, you can pay for that out of pocket. If you want to change the shape of other things, also out of pocket. If you need cancer medication, an asthma inhaler, ibuprofen, the government will take care of that, hip replacements, all of that. We pay for that through taxes. Taxing here is hot. We pay between 7.5 all the way up to 40% of our income to taxes. It depends on how much you earn and where you are on that ladder. You will be paying taxes. Everybody has to, because it even protects you if you're unemployed, if you're a senior, if you're a child. It protects us all. So it's an expensive system, but the system works. Cost of living here, I'm gonna give you my house as an idea. I live in a regular neighborhood with regular people. My neighbors are from 5 different countries and 3 different religions. We don't care what they believe in. We just live our lives. That's it. All religions are free to practice whatever they want here. The Jewish are super important. Majority of people on the island are believers in the Bible. There are Buddhists here, Islamic communities here. We all just get along. It's hot, it's the Caribbean. We would rather party and get along than fight. My house is, it's raining. My house has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, big kitchen, big living room, 2-car garage, a shed, 3 puppies. One weighs 150 pounds, 140, and 110. You know, I like options. I have a Mastiff Burgola. He's a big baby. They are outside of the house. We don't do inside dogs here unless you're Dutch. Or, you know, they're toy-sized. Dogs outside. My house is valued at $190,000, 350,000 guilders. That's a regular house. I'm an only child. My parents are divorced. So all I gotta do is wait. I don't have a mortgage. I like my mom. We just get along. I live there. I don't have to pay rent. You know, it's nice. I already got student loans on my back, so no mortgage for me. That's a regular neighborhood. If you're looking for the gated community experience where you live with your own country most of the time, which is highly overrated, you're gonna pay double that amount for a smaller place. And if you want the ocean view experience, yes, it does cost millions, and it's overrated. Wherever you live here, you drive 10 minutes and you reach the ocean. 38 beaches, 71 dive sites. It's enough to do here. And a bunch of museums and a lot of good restaurants. We're gonna talk food later. I'll make you hungry. Yeah. Remember those that are coming with me to take all of your belongings. Those that want to return to the ship, do stay on board, please. Anyone staying?